Imagine if you have worked really hard and saved a lot of money to probably buy something, probably buy a dream car or probably buy a land where you can build your house on, and suddenly something that happens in your life and you have to burn all that money. To literally burn all that money on that one single day, and you have to take additional 10 lakhs of loan on that one day. And that is usually for Indians the day of their wedding. This is exactly what happened to me as well, and it took a big toll on my life. And don't get me wrong, my marriage is the biggest and the best emotional decision of my life, but probably the worst financial decision that I've ever taken. Now, I know this video is not about agency growth, business growth and whatnot, but I honestly think that this is something that everybody should know about because it's an important topic. Not just for me, but for everyone, because everybody at least tries to get married at some point of the time, and it does take a toll, not just emotionally, but also financially, in every aspect of the life. Now, this is the story of my beautiful and financially devastating wedding day. So I got married in June 26th, and although it was just one single day of happiness, it took me investing all my savings and taking an additional 10 lakhs of debt. And very recently, in fact this month alone, I wound up all my loans. I paid off everything except I think one personal loan which charges me a little bit of EMI, but it doesn't affect me a lot, so I was kind of cool with it. However, because I paid off all of this, I suddenly feel this sigh of relief in my life, which I felt like everybody should feel this as well, right? Or everybody should know about what I came to know about when I just got married. In this video, apart from my story, I'll also show you how exactly I got out of my personal loan debt and what kind of impact now it has on my life. According to this particular report by NDTV, on an average, an Indian spends about 20 lakh on a single day of their wedding. And it's not a small thing. My number was a lot bigger than this, almost double of this particular thing. And it took a lot of my blood, sweat and tears to really make it happen, along with support of my family and everything, of course. Now, here's how my wedding started. I have known my wife since almost 10 to 12 years. We were friends first, then we started fighting online for some reason, and then we fell in love, and we had been in a relationship for almost 8 years, and now we decided to get married. And because we have been in a relationship for so long, it didn't feel like we needed like a big fat Indian wedding like everyone else used to do. In fact, my now wife, then girlfriend, was the one who suggested that, you know what, we should not have a very lavish wedding. In fact, I personally wanted to have a Brahmin wedding in a temple because we are Brahmin, and I always imagine how great a temple wedding would be. And that was our wedding of the dreams. It was not some really fancy destination wedding, but at my home things were a little bit different. When I pitched this idea to my parents and my family members, what happened was they mentioned, well, we are well reputed in our village, so we need to have a lavish wedding, whether you like it or not. So temple was definitely not something that not on the cards. And I was like, okay, it makes sense because it's not my wedding, it's family wedding, and this is exactly what happens in India. It's not a wedding between two people in India. It's a wedding between two families, in fact, two villages coming together. And the respect that you own in the society is defined by the kind of wedding that you have for your kids or your family members. And the more lavish the wedding, the more you spend on these weddings, the more you are considered successful in today's Indian society. I hate it, but this is the reality of it. And this is exactly where I was getting shocks after shocks in my own wedding. I did some market research when I was doing some surveys about how much expenses would it take me to conduct this wedding myself or with the help of my family members. So in our wedding, the biggest expense, to be honest, is not the decoration and stuff. The biggest expense that usually goes is food. I'm not going to reveal the exact numbers how much we spent on food, but I'll give you a comparison. When I was doing a little bit of survey around how many people usually come and visit and to a wedding, the number were about 1,000. When I looked at my own stats, in my wedding, about 1,700 people came and ate. Touchwood, we were able to provide to everyone. Even if you spend 1,000 rupees per plate, that's 17 lakhs of expenses right there on just wedding. Never to mention photographers, the tents, asking all the relatives to come, arranging their transports to come to your place, and all of that stuff that takes way more than the number that you saw. Now, collectively, I think it hit about 34 lakhs of overall expenses in my wedding, and that is something that bothered me the most. Why exactly are we spending so much? Is it really necessary to invite? And I think the answer that came to me was like, yeah, In my parents' generation, it's absolutely necessary because everyone in their friend circle, they judge other people based on the kind of weddings that they have. But probably in our generation, we are a little bit better. Not a better, I would say. We are a little bit more considerate and more aware about the finances. And I predict that in the future, we'll probably spend less for our kids' weddings. However, what I did when I had to contribute to my wedding, I had to dump up all my savings. I always wanted a car, but for some reason I never got to buy this. And the kind of savings that I had, I would have actually bought the car this year, but it all went into wedding plus 10 lakhs of personal loan. All the burning of the saving cash didn't matter much. This additional expense of this personal loan really bothered me. With this 10 lakhs of loan, I had to pay about 30 to 40,000 worth of EMI. The EMIs don't bother me as much as it bothered me how much I would have enjoyed riding that dream car of mine. I would not reveal the dream car that I always wanted to buy because I feel that it will jinx my dream. But a quick calculation that I did, that with a down payment of about 15 lakhs and taking loans of the rest of the money, I would be paying about 25,000 rupees in my car EMI. And that's what I was paying for my marriage loan payment without a car, and it bothered me so much. And it definitely took a toll on what I actually wanted to do with those money. I always wanted to have more production value on these YouTube videos, and I always wanted to hire a good video editor who could edit my videos. But obviously, you calculate your own finances and it doesn't allow you to have that extra leverage. Now, because of this, again, because of the wedding, those scenes were also getting postponed. Neither I had a car nor I could hire a video editor. Now I could because I paid off my loan. Now this is when I came across this podcast between Alex Hormozi and Dave Ramsey, and that spiraled into me learning a lot more of Dave Ramsey's content. Dave Ramsey, if you don't know, he is the OG of personal finance. He is probably one of the first personal finance gurus out in the world, and one of his modules, or one of the main preachings that Dave Ramsey says, is getting out of debt fast. Do not even care about EMI. What Dave suggests is like, what you should be doing first is you should be getting out of your debt as fast as possible. And I personally would agree with it, because even though I would have some savings at the end, it always bothered me. It always would take my mental peace that, hey, what if I could save that additional 30,000 or 25,000, whatever I was paying for my EMI right now? How much more I would be able to do with that particular amount? I wanted to join a gym that costed about 10,000 a month. I wanted to buy a car that would have costed about 25,000 rupees of EMI every single month. I wanted to hire a video editor, which would cost me another 20,000 a month at least for creating like 5 videos. Now, all the dreams, all the plans that I had suddenly were like falling apart just because I had this one giant thing in my head called personal loan. Because of which, one day I decided to completely let go of this. Now, this one fine day didn't happen all of a sudden. I was reading a lot of personal finance books. One of the Dave Ramsey's book called The Total Money Makeover, which talks about how to get out of debt fast. And the second one is I'll Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And if you are somebody who is struggling to make up your finances, you are in a role where you don't like the kind of financial situation that you have, I highly recommend reading these 2 books. What I did was, after reading these 2 books, something clicked in my mind, and I gathered whatever extra savings that I had and paid all the 10 lakhs, or not 10 lakhs, actually 8 lakhs 50,000 worth of loans in one go. And my EMIs right now are barely 4,700 rupees a month, which is bearable. I can live with that. I cannot live with 25,000 rupees of EMI right now. But all in all, my message that I wanted to share was, getting into marriage with personal loan might seem great to please the society, but it does take a heavy personal toll on yourself. It does take a heavy mental toll, to be honest. I used to have all these dreams in my head. I used to dream about these things where I would pile up all my savings and I would like literally burn that cash, and I would suddenly wake up in the middle of the night thinking that, oh hey, this is what I did with my marriage. This definitely changes you as a person. But then again, my question is it all worth it? Just because other people would enjoy at your wedding, other people would see that how lavish your wedding is, how successful you are, does it really matter to have such fancy weddings at all? Should we not promote humble weddings where 2 people who love each other can just come together and stay happily ever after? I see a lot of my friends fight over their weddings. I literally have a couple friends back at my home who did not like the kind of wedding that they have, and they still date. They complain about, oh, I had a bad wedding. But bro, what really really matters is a good marriage. That wedding day, that one day, it does not matter. You probably will look at the album, you'll probably forget about that in like 10 years. It will just become a special memory and that's about it. But what really is long term, what is really sustainable is a great marriage where you have that level of deep bonding with your partner. And that should not be defined by expensive, lavish weddings with all the DJs, parties, all this sort of dramas. It should be defined on what you two want. And I don't know whether it's a important message to share. This is something that I personally wanted to share with you guys, that if you are planning a wedding for yourself, getting into debt is absolutely stupid. According to the Money Magazine poll, over 70% couples argue over money. And imagine the biggest expense of your life starts on the day of your marriage. And that upsets not just you, probably the whole family, unless you are really rich. Even if you are at a financially good position, that definitely puts an impact on how you are spending. And what is really important for me and what I would advise, I'm not in a place to advise, this is just my feeling, to be honest. This is not even advice. What I honestly feel is that a couple who are in love and want to get together, they should plan out their finances way before they get married, because that way they would have a much more stable relationship. My wife and I, we never fought over money. In fact, we actually fought like twice since the day we became a couple, not since we got married. And a big part of it goes because we are very in sync when it comes to how we spend our money and where exactly we spend it, one, and two, how exactly we show love to each other. And I think money should be the last thing couples should talk about or should worry about. You as a couple should honestly spend a lot of your time into giving love to each other. And that's what the point of a good marriage should be. Now, I honestly didn't plan on this video. I didn't have a script to talk about. However, this is a message that I wanted to share honestly, heart to heart, because after paying off the debt, I feel a very different sense of relief. It feels like my life is suddenly back on track and I can actually save some money in the next couple of months and buy my dream car in the nearest future. So yeah, that's something that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know what are your thoughts. If you hated me talking about marriage, then feel free to unsubscribe if you want. But if you kind of resonated with the idea of being a good couple, talking to each other, both in terms of finances way before you're getting married, and focusing more on a long-term marriage than a one-day wedding, and you promise to me that your kids should not seek this particular type of future, then do comment or do share this video with a person who you think should watch this. Thank you very much for watching. Share it with somebody else and let me know in the comments if you want me to create certain videos about finances, health, everything that affects an entrepreneur's life as well. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.